speaker, Jonathan Price, and he will talk about incentives as transactions. Jonathan?
Thank you. If I can have the clicker?
The clicker.
Oh, terrific. Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, that's bright, but that's fine. As long as you guys can see me, I can see you. Welcome. I appreciate everyone coming to visit here. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how we can take the pesky administrative task of providing incentives for survey participation and transform it into a valuable touch point for our respondents. There's quite a bit of buzz, I'm sure everyone's heard of, with payments technology, whether it's Apple Pay or Bitcoin. But what I'm going to focus on today is how we can utilize technology to deliver incentives. And it's technology that is present today and that is pretty easy to implement and to make a big difference and to wow our respondents and make that experience so much more coveted for that community. This Volkswagen example you see is a good example of how they have transformed their delivery of incentive payments for both survey participation at dealerships as well as consumer promotions. So the old method, which they deemed as working but wasn't optimal, is that someone would take a test drive or complete a survey at a dealership. This is certainly a customer who is in the market for a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 car. And 4 to 6 weeks later, they'd receive their reward in the mail. And of course, the irony exists of oftentimes they had made a purchase of a Lexus or Mercedes or a Hyundai or whatever it may be, and it's too late by the time that reward arrived. This new method of receiving a virtual visa at the dealership means that before they leave that dealership, they're actually interacting with that reward, receiving it, ability to spend. Moreover, since we're moving them to a digital world, it just has a limitless opportunity to engage them, activate them, accumulate behavioral data of how they're interacting with the reward, personalizing that reward with so much tailored information so that they feel special, that they know that the dealership and the salesperson reflected that they test drove this car, and here's where they are at the buying horizon. So pretty valuable stuff for them. Just to take a step back, and when we think about incentives, the value equation, as I like to say, is it's a pretty simple transaction. This coveted community, which is the lifeblood of marketing research, is providing us time and their input. And our obligation as researchers is to make sure we pay it off in kind. And especially since you consider that so much has changed and that consumers' expectations have changed of how they receive payments, where they receive them, and what choices they have. So since I started in incentives in 1999, just about everything's changed. The good news is just about everything has changed for the more positive. So incentives are less expensive to administer, they're more customizable, we're able to offer more choices, and we're able to deliver them immediately. But what's critical is that we take advantage of all of those elements. And specifically things like the great evolution of online shopping and where we were when I first started in 1999, when online shopping was kind of an adventure. And as reflected here with eBay, for example, where 10% of their sales were Beanie Babies in 1998. And if you check the records, Meg Whitman actually had to disclose that was a financial risk for the organization, was the popularity of Beanie Babies. Pretty fun stuff. So if you think about where online shopping is now, in fact, some of you in the crowd may actually be shopping for a Father's Day gift while I'm giving my presentation. I won't be upset. So if I won't leave you because I think we're right in the middle, but if I can leave you with one thought, it would be when we think about this coveted community of respondents, do not make them wait for their rewards. They're giving us their precious time and their input. Let's deliver that reward as soon as possible. It's going to make that satisfaction so much better. It's going to make them participate, whether it's within your panels and studies or just the community of research in general. Fulfill that promise of delivering rewards. Although rewards have the ability now to be delivered in real time, that may not always be practical if there's authentication or administration that needs to occur, but do not make them wait any longer than is needed. I like to say that once somebody gets that reward, let's take them out of that "where is my incentive" purgatory and fulfill our obligation. So one of the other really cool things that we can do when we move people to a digital reward, and we're providing our incentives via email or text or on screen after a survey, is that we can make that rewards experience as personalized as possible. So in the panel world, that means that their payment and their email can reflect whether it's their first time and the messaging is congruent with that, or they may have been a panelist and a dedicated respondent for years. So let's treat them all differently. In the consumer promotions world, there's other cool things that we're doing related to, if you look at that Volkswagen example, that, hey, we can say that, here, thank you for taking that specific model test drive. I hope your salesperson, fill in the blank, was really helpful for you. You mentioned this and this. Thought you might also want to check out these new features of a car. Mobile ready. So how many of you are contributing to that at least 150 times a day? Just about everybody? Yeah. So I think, just to paraphrase crudely Lenny Murphy, if you don't get mobile ready and the importance and the profound effect that mobile has, I can't do anything for you. So one of the biggest initiatives we have is to make sure that every possible communication has a beautiful mobile experience. So at the very least, that means mobile responsive emails and a navigation that supports that. So the respondent is most likely going to be viewing it there first. So let's make that a wonderful experience. And then also let's let that carry through to rewards. E-gift cards have made such great progress in the last few years, certainly starting with Starbucks as a big leader, but many, many others, where you marry that real-time delivery of reward with an Applebee's card or a Starbucks card, and someone can receive and spend right away. Choice comes in a lot of different flavors. So I mentioned a few different e-gift card choices. We always encourage our clients to put on a set of 6 to 10 options and to really customize it. So the first choice begins with you as the researcher. What are going to be the most compelling and relevant gift card brands or Visa card brands that are going to resonate with that audience and make them satisfied? But then let's provide them with the choice so that they can select. And the other way that choice comes into play is, do they want it virtually or physical? My company is Virtual Incentives. You can tell where we lean towards. We still provide physical options. And we present an option like this, where it's select a virtual Visa or a physical Visa card. We're still seeing about 33% of respondents select that physical card. So some people just want that tangible piece of plastic that they can hold. But this really satisfies just about everybody. And even if they do want that physical card, we're giving them that notification, again, providing them with a instant gratification and an earlier experience that's positive by providing them that physical card via email. Some of you may have seen me working out in the gym earlier. So flexibility comes in so many different ways, but two of the most compelling that technology has really allowed survey incentives to benefit from are for those of you that are issuing small values. So in fact, the question came up a couple times with researchers today of, hey, can you support $1 or $3 or 50 cents? And the answer is yes. There's e-gift card brands where not only is that supported and feasible, but it's really inexpensive and really easy and a good experience. The other big flexibility that technology provides is the delivery of global payments. So when you go to an electronic environment and you're delivering a virtual Visa or an e-gift card around the world, we're no longer dealing with customs and shipping times and those costs. It's an electronic delivery that's as simple as sending a friend an email. This is one of the areas that I think is probably newest and most relevant to this audience, and one, frankly, that we're really excited about is the data that we can capture and share that your clients can benefit from beyond the incentive itself, which is not only capturing the DNA of how someone's interacting, what rewards they're selecting, when they're selecting them, but the advances with processors that support Visa and MasterCard allow us to share data that will communicate where they shopped, when they shopped, how far from home they shopped, and the number of transactions. So some really valuable benefits, particularly for consumer marketers. And again, in contrast to what was once the typical, hey, somebody got a $50 reward for completing a few surveys, and then it's just dead on arrival. We have no longer an engagement or a window into them. So with the last few minutes I have left, I wanted to bridge to my practice what I preach portion, which is the first 5 people who tweet to Virtual Rewards that they would like a gift card pass, which is one of our flagship products, which allows you to select gift cards, will receive just that. I think we've got a couple minutes for questions if there are any.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Are there any questions in the floor? Please.
Darn, now I can't tweet. Anyhow, you had said that 33% of the people choose physical rewards.
Yes.
Have you ever done any learning on if they would prefer cash? Like, what's the difference between a cash incentive and the virtual reward?
Yeah, we haven't done that just because the options that we've provided are either that physical Visa card or virtual Visa card.
Okay.
So just purely within that comparison, that's where the 33%. We do, and I'll say the words reluctantly, do provide cash rewards and checks for those that need it, but we haven't done don't have any data on that selection.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Anyone? Well, thank you very much, Jonathan.
Thank you.